All right, we'll be back from the break and let's continue with our discussion regarding Saccos and licensing of the Saccos in Uganda. And I'm still with Edward Binde, who is the Communications Officer from the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. Well, Edward, I would want us to as well look at the issue to do with the Saccos Stabilization Fund. How much money is involved in there and what does it entail?
Like I said, government is putting up a number of initiatives to save Saccos, to avail credit to the Saccos. Under UMRA, there's what we call the Saccos Stabilization Fund. UMRA is also now finalizing plans to establish this fund. The Saccos Stabilization Fund, this will be money managed by UMRA. But then if a Sacco has liquidity issues, doesn't have enough money, it will come to UMRA and apply to borrow from UMRA, and then they go and replenish their finances, their accounts, so that members can access funds. So that also means you have to you must have a license from UMRA. So if you don't have a license, you will not benefit from this fund. It is starting very soon. Earlier on, I talked about the Sacco Savings Protection Fund. Now this one is the Sacco Stabilization Fund, whereby, like stabilization, a Sacco is having issues, doesn't have enough money to give to members, to lend to members. You come to UMRA, you access that money, and then you give out to the members, and the members are happy. So that's what we are talking about. But then, like I said, you must have a license from UMRA. That's why we encourage every Sacco to come and apply for a license. The fees involved in licensing, application fees is just 50,000. Then the application fees, rather the annual license fees, is 300,000 per year. Remember, the license is valid for 1 year. It is valid from 1st January to 31st December. So the earlier you apply for a license, the better. Currently, our team are in the field, our officers are in the field doing what we call the premises inspection for both money lenders, non-deposit, and Saccos. They are all over the country. So imagine if you had submitted your application if you had submitted your application to UMRA, by now it would be inspected, and maybe next week they give you a license. So we encourage you, all of you, if you're a Sacco, you come and apply for license. Yes.
Okay. Now that means with more of the stabilization fund, because as I was noting down something here, you mentioned something that it will enable Saccos that have less money to lend to their members. So I need to understand more about this issue of lending. Is there anything you want from the Sacco as a security as they are going in to lend, or it's just simply the license?
Simply the license. By the government, by UMRA licensing you, then they understand your operations. You know, they have the list of your members, they know the institutional capital you have. UMRA knows now the voluntary savings for members that you have. We know the business plan. We know the business plan of your Sacco. We know you must have a plan, business plan. Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Do you want to establish? If you have like 200 members, so how many members will you have after 5 years? And what is your share capital like? Those things. So by having that, it is not just having a license. UMRA does a number of other, before they give you a license, they need to understand the financial soundness of your Sacco. So basically, that license will be a guarantee for you to have to access that fund. Yes.
So now for all other Saccos, if you're to look at that now, applying, I need to understand more from the process of applying, because you may say you have the license, I have the license, Now I'm applying for this particular amount of money. Is there any amount that UMRA will say we are not exceeding this amount if we are to loan out to any Sacco?
Yes, now the discussions have started. Now that is going to be guided by the discussions. You know, I said they are planning. So they are, you know, before something's rolled out, a number of consultations have to be carried out. So currently we have not yet started, but in the near future, that is going to start. That is going to be guided. Of course, UMRA will come out with the guidelines.
Okay.
How much money are you, more or less like you want to borrow from a bank or from a Sacco. There are limitations. They say we are giving you, it shouldn't exceed the institutional capital, and then I talked about the voluntary savings. Of course, they have to look at how much money do you have that belongs to members? How much money do you have that belongs to a Sacco? That is the institutional capital. So those are some of the things that UMRA will be now interested in, will be basing on to give you the money. Yes.
Okay. And of course now for the Saccos in there, I think you've got to understand what it means to get yourself a loan. Once UMRA's stabilization fund is set up, you can definitely survive some of these particular case scenarios where you do not have money to lend out to your members, or if at all a member who apparently borrowed money from the Sacco is yet to pay back, yet there are other members who want to use their money, then UMRA gives you the opportunity to go in and secure that. The Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority is a regulator that is actually being is a government regulator in that, which also regulates more of the Saccos. Now, regarding microfinance regulatory platforms, what other licenses does UMRA provide?
I talked about the Act, the Tier 4 Microfinance Institution and Money Lenders Act, 2016. This one now, UMRA is basically looking at, is mandated to license money lenders. Money lenders must get licenses from UMRA. Then what we call the non-deposit taking microfinance institutions. These are organizations or companies that are only mandated to lend money. People are not supposed to save their money there. I would give examples, but I would sound like advertising for them, but non-deposit taking microfinance institutions. They are not deposit taking in Tier 3. Deposit taking, they fall under Tier 3. Tier 3 is regulated by Bank of Uganda. So in this case, we're talking about non-deposit. It's a company organization lending out money. And then, of course, I talked about Saccos. And then we also have what we call the self-help groups. For self-help groups, actually government has finalized plans to issue operational guidelines. Very soon, the operational guidelines are going to be issued. These are groups. It's a group of a minimum of 10, but not exceeding 35 members. These are self-help groups. Batakatwezike, Batakatwezimbe, those other Monomokabi groups, women groups, they are majorly, most of them belong to women, those groups. So UMRA has finalized plans. This month, the operational guidelines are going to be issued. You know, they are supposed to be registered at the district. So there were issues where members were losing money here and there, and the government was not monitoring how they were operating. So currently, they are going to be regulated. Not giving them a license per se, but the government wants to understand where do they operate from, how many members are they, who are the members, how much money do they have. So that process has been finalized. In the next few weeks, operational guidelines are going to be issued. Yes. And
surely we will be waiting on that and keeping you more updated once these ones are out in regards to the operational guidelines from the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. All right, as we're summing up with our discussion, now as the regulator, what are some of those key things that you would ask anyone out there before, from the microfinance institutions down to the Saccos in the country? What are some of those things that you would urge people or the stakeholders under these sectors to work on, mainly if we are to look at post-COVID-19 recovery as a country?
Thank you very much. First of all, if you are, say, a borrower and you want to borrow from an institute, you want to borrow money, you don't want to borrow from a bank, but you want to borrow from the lower pyramid, we encourage you to borrow from a licensed money lender and a non-deposit taking microfinance institutions. So if you are a member, or if you're a person and you want to belong to a Sacco, we encourage you to save your money with the regulated Sacco. I talked about the benefits. If your money is lost, you can be compensated. But if the Sacco is not licensed, you cannot be compensated. So look out for a license from Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. They are all over the place. Currently, UMRA has licensed over 1,000 institutions. Over 1,000 institutions. These include money lenders, non-deposit taking microfinance institutions, and the Saccos. So all over the country, if the Sacco is not licensed, please don't save your money with that Sacco. We encourage you to save with the regulated Sacco. So we have had complaints where people have lost money, or where people have borrowed the money from a money lending company, and the money lending company is not even licensed, and the money lender has taken over someone's house or someone's land. So we want to avoid scenarios like those ones. That's why a regulated Sacco cannot commit economic, financial atrocities and it goes scot-free. No, we definitely follow it up. And if you have issues regarding a regulated money lender or a non-deposit, you feel you are unfairly treated, you were cheated, you can reach out to Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority to investigate. We have what we call a complaint handling mechanism. So for more information, you want to have a complaint, you can actually call us. You can call a toll-free. I can give it out to the public. Toll-free 0800 111 449. I'll repeat that. 0800 111 449. That is a toll-free call. Raise your issues. You tell us where you are. Our team will come and follow up your complaints.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, lastly, your final remarks as we're winding up with our discussion.
I'll take this opportunity to thank Smart FM for always giving us a platform. Thank you very much. We encourage everyone, if you are involved in money lending, you are a non-deposit, you're a Sacco, to always come and apply. You legalize your business. You know it's illegal for you to operate without a license. Currently, UMRA has also finalized enforcement mechanisms. Enforcement guidelines have been finalized. So the next stage now is to carry out enforcement. So you're transacting money lending without a license. UMRA did not want to use force to force you to comply. We want to always to have a discussion. If you have issues, you come and we discuss the issues so that you regularize your business. Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, and that is it for our topic of discussion today. If you're to look at some of the key highlights of what we've been having as well, we've got to realize that for a Sacco to get a license, the minimum number should be 35 members in there. And also the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority is setting up a Saccos stabilization fund where Saccos will be able to borrow money from the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority to lend out to some of its members in case the Sacco is facing some constraints financially. But that can only happen if at all a Sacco is regulated, or rather having a license with the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority, and in that way you can definitely pick on that particular advantage of getting yourself some funds from the Uganda Microfinance from the Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. And well, that brings us to the end of our topic of discussion this morning. All right, now as we move on further, we look closely to what is coming in from the world of the SMB Insight. Now, we look at cybersecurity in Uganda as companies that need cybersecurity to keep their data, finances, and intellectual property safe quite many of those, as we are pushing for the issue to do with internet use in Uganda. With an increasing number of users, devices and programs in the modern enterprise, combined with the increased deluge of data, much of which is sensitive or confidential, the importance of cyber security continues to grow. Now, the growing volume and sophistication of cyber attackers and attack techniques compound the problem even further. Now, in this regard, experts in the cyber security world have called upon business owners to embrace the usage of cyber security to avoid this loss. Let's have more from our SMB Insight this morning.
Cyber security is the effort towards building resilience and averting cyber attacks. So it is a good initiative. It's a good thing when we have security. But where does it come from? In recent times, we have seen a growing level of usage of technology. In Uganda right now, we have over 55% internet penetration rate in the country. We are also having, I think, that's mobile penetration rate, about 48% internet penetration rate. This indicates that we are having a significant number of Ugandans that are using technology for their day-to-day activities, be it social media activities, mobile money activities, internet banking, day-to-day activities. So as we have seen a growth in usage of these systems, subsequently we're also seeing a rise in terms of attackers. Hackers are basically people who take advantage of weaknesses in your IT systems to divulge sensitive information, to steal money, to expose certain content like pictures, to defame. So there are very many objectives why people hack systems, and we have seen growing levels of attacks on systems, right from individuals on their social media to advanced attacks that are hitting banks, telecoms, and all of this key infrastructure that we have. When we talk about cybersecurity, we are therefore looking at various efforts that you, from an individual perspective, can take to protect yourself. As I've mentioned, things like social media. In recent times, we have seen growing levels of attacks on social media. People's accounts are being hacked, especially when you have a high following. You find that they have hijacked your account. High following accounts these days are actually very attractive to hackers because they are being used to promote certain agendas, either advertise certain products or gain followings for certain purposes. So you find that social media is now one of the top attacked platforms. WhatsApp is continuously being breached. Why? Because we are having people containing sensitive messages and pictures on their phones. I think today most of us spend more time interacting with our phones than any other gadget that we have. That also means that we're having a lot of sensitive and important information that if it fell into those hands of those hackers, then it would be very attractive to them. So overall, we see that there is a growing level of attacks on systems, mobile money. Increasingly, mobile money accounts are being hacked, both from external as well as internal connivance within telecom companies. They have themselves come out and acknowledge this as well. So all of these contribute to the increasing levels of cybercrime that we're seeing, and subsequently it calls for us to now start thinking serious in Uganda. Well, the news shows for themselves. In recent times, we have been seeing several banks registering significant losses, either through mobile money fraud, through internet banking fraud, through agency banking fraud, through internal fraud. All those are hackers. Hackers don't need to be wearing hoods, sitting in basements in a dark environment where there's water dripping. You see, movies have created a very, very wrong scenery of what hackers look like. But a hacker is anyone who can bypass security controls to be able to achieve their malicious objective. Anyone can do that. Even the staff member seated next to you can bypass your password, and they're able to log in as though it is you. Isn't that a hacker? They are. In recent times, we have seen increasing numbers of losses. As of 2020, the CID report indicated $3.5 million that had been lost. $3.5 million is not small money. That's over 15 billion. But that is just what was reported. Milima Security conducts various forensic investigations. This year alone, we have investigated various crimes, combined total of over 1 billion shillings that has been stolen. If this is just one unit of Milima investigating, there are many other people that are doing the same, then how many losses are we actually seeing as a country?
All right, now cybersecurity on that matter still remains a very big concern. In Uganda, how do you safeguard information on the internet? How safely do you keep your data? How safely do you keep, for example, your business information? Those are some of the things regarding cybersecurity in Uganda and why you need to be more cautious when doing your business in that space. Now, as I've actually been mentioning here, with an increasing number of users, the devices and programs in the modern enterprise, combined with the increased deluge of data, much of which is sensitive or confidential. Now, the importance of cybersecurity is now continuing to grow in Uganda. Now, this growing volumes and sophistication of cyber attackers is something that compounds the problem even further. So that is why you have to at least make sure that you keep yourself safe from the hackers that may hack into your systems. If at all you are a business person and you've brought in someone from the external part of it, or even your employees can hack into your system and try to disorganize everything. So cybersecurity should be something that you should look at and consider definitely as something that you would do if at all you're safeguarding your account in one way or the other. So stick on to that particular platform and try to consider how best you can use the internet and how good you can safeguard it as well. And with that, for the SMB Insight, brings us to the end of the first half of the third hour of our SMB. Well, when we return after the break, I've got Barija Andrew on ground, who shall be having more of the public opinions on matters to do with technology, but from the perspective of electric vehicles and others. Stick around.